Hi, everybody. We wanted to sit and take a few minutes and do a, what do you want to call it? A rundown,
recap, yeah.
A recap of the 2017 ECETI Annual Science Spirit World Transformation Conference. Say that 3 times fast, right?
Exactly.
So I thought it was awesome. It started off, we did our opening ceremonies and these beautiful clearings, and we had this, a lot of people got up and spoke and did a couple things in the beginning. But then Lorcan started off with his presentation the first night. I thought that was really interesting. He's got a very unique take on some subjects. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Lorcan O'Toole, which a lot of people know the name O'Toole.
Oh, yeah, Peter O'Toole's son, yes.
Yeah. But definitely, yeah, he's got some great insights on a lot, different ways of looking at things and different ways of seeing the world in which we live. And a good presentation. And the others, we had Jordan Sather and Jason Quitt, and I met them at Contact in the Desert, and I go, these are the upcoming stars, they're going to really shake things up. And so when I heard a lot of them talking, it seems like one was one side of me and one was the other side of me. And I go, great. This is continuing. Everything is continuing, because sometimes you just feel like you got the world on your shoulders and you go, people need to wake up. They need to get this information so they can make informed decisions. And they were doing a great job. And then Erica Luke, she was talking about the Utah, and all the stuff. People don't realize that everybody's focused on Area 51, but what would all the areas before 51 and after 51?
Right. It doesn't just, it's not the only one.
And Area 52 is where all the real cool stuff is going on.
Sure.
So she covers that. I mean, we've moved all of our super high tech stuff and space fleet things and stuff like that over to 52. But, there's other places too on the planet that are bases that nobody's talking about. But,
yeah.
But she also talked about it's kind of like the infiltration of ufology and how many people have moved to high places in ufology. They're planned opposition and they're to control the narrative. And she was talking a lot about why she had to leave MUFON and some other things, and start her own program. But MUFON's not a bad organization. They do some good work, but the problem is that it's too infiltrated. It's a mixed energy there.
Right.
And so I have a friend, I won't mention his name, but he calls them the unpaid agents.
That was interesting. She had some photos that I hadn't seen before too. Some of them were really, and what I thought was really interesting is her approach to exposing the dysfunction and the disinformation that has infiltrated the UFO research community.
A lot of women have been pushed out of the UFO community too. And that's kind of sad, but it's good that they're that they're bringing this out, because the heart side is what we really need to get into, because the subjective heart side and the spiritual side is where it's really at. I mean, the intellect, the nuts and bolts, all that other stuff is just a drop in the sea of consciousness. And we keep controlling the narrative and keeping everybody's head cranked back in the past and looking for nuts and bolts and pointing fingers at the government. And a lot of people don't realize the people that are pointing the most fingers and yelling at the government are the government. They planned opposition. Right. Yeah, they found out that what happened is we would revolt and we would start doing our own research and things like that if we didn't install these people. And so they had to install these people, because without a savior, people will revolt. And now that we have a savior, he'll take care of it. He'll do it.
Pass the buck.
Yeah. And, you're not going to see free energy come out or any of this stuff until we actually, do our own homework, do our own research and start building them ourselves. And same thing with Contact. It's an inner thing.
Sure.
And so everything's external. They're keeping this external narrative going, and, they're bugs and they're coming and they're going to eat us and whatever.
All the doom and gloom.
Yeah. And all that stuff. And to keep you in fear in the lower consciousness. And it's that's got to come to a close. That's got to come to an end.
What's interesting too is Ken Rolla, and he couldn't be here physically, but we streamed him. Streamed him live to the conference hall onto the big screen, and he touched a lot on the chemtrailing, how to basically set yourself up and detox and things like that. So that was another angle that was really interesting. And I thought the diversity of the speakers was, I mean, it was vast.
Yeah.
And people were coming at these different and very touchy subjects from really, really unique perspectives. And they had done their homework too. These people are excellent researchers. And I mean, Ken's presentation was outstanding.
Oh God, I always tell people, if you can get that DVD and give it to all your friends and pass it out, it's so important. There's so much concise information there, and you cannot, and his delivery was impeccable. And,
yes, it was.
And not only did he nail the problem and who's behind it and what's going on, but he also gave solutions, which I really like. So the solutions are in there as well. I think that's real important. We just can't keep complaining. We need to come up with solutions.
Another thing that was a really good variance on that was Barry's presentation. Barry Littleton. Barry's a really close friend of ours, and we love picking on Barry, but it's not that he doesn't give it back. But no, that was a lot of fun. He was definitely one of the highlights of the conference, and he has some profound information he's putting out. Some of the photos and drawings, and then he just goes so deep into the nuts and bolts, like you said, and he presents it in such a way that it's very easy for people that are just coming into this knowledge to understand.
Yeah, and people are having, now with the veils coming down and the veils between worlds are getting thinner, and people are having all these experiences. And my presentation, I broke that down and talked about the electromagnetic light spectrum and the fourth dimension and all that stuff about what's going on right now. And people need support, to understand what's happening, around them, that we're surrounded by consciousness and energy and life. And it's not just all 3D, it's 4D, 5D, 6D, 13D we've had come here. And so we need to realize that we're not just a body and a personality, we're a spirit, and that spirit's a multidimensional being. And we go all the way back to the source. We began at the source and dropped down through the dimensions to get to here. But we don't have access to that because we're running around thinking we're a body and a personality, and we're kept off center by TV and all the chemicals and all the other things going on. But that's coming to an end too. There's a huge awakening and lifting going on, and I talked a lot about that, about who's behind it, how it works, and what's happening throughout the galaxy, and the influences of the sun, the Schumann resonance off the scale, the cosmic rays are off the scale coming in. So
the peak's outrageous.
Yeah, we just got slammed by a huge flare, and right now we're in a proton stream. I'm surprised a lot of this stuff is working right now.
Yeah, especially here, when it affects our electronics. That on that same train of thought, we had Hollis Polk and Costa Macris, and they did their CE5 initiative. I guess it was a meditation of intent, and it was incredible. We did that in the conference hall, and then that was right before we came out and did a skywatch, and that was a crazy skywatch. There was so much going on. There were so many ships. The mountain lit up. I mean, there were so many different lights all over that mountain. Now, this mountain, I want people to understand, is 13 miles away. And to light up that much of an area, that light has to be not only bright, but big.
Yeah.
And, we had people with a lot of these incredible telephoto lenses. And then there was a big shift on the mountain also.
Yeah, that big, massive door opened up. Looks like a giant garage door.
It does. The debris fell down and exposed it. And
now there's another door. There's two doors now. There's like a round thing and then a square door that opened up there, and we're really working. I was on Fade to Black last night, and we're working on with Jimmy Church, and we're working on getting a really good drone. I mean, most of those drones only go about 4 miles, and the mountain's 14 miles away, so obviously we can't fly it from here.
Yeah,
but we might figure out a team to go up there, backpack up there, take a drone and just get as close as they can to that mountain, even flying, maybe even flying the door. I don't know if somebody has a good enough drone, but
somebody's good enough with it. Yeah.
yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, there's crazy winds up there, and it is, you're going to be up at over 13, about 13,000 feet, or
just under,
above,
right?
yeah, just under 13,000 feet to film that. So, so it's I think the mountain is what, 12,000 something. I can't remember.
12 and change. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so who know? I don't know what the capabilities of those drones are, but I guess we'll find out.
And that kind of air current, yeah.
And also too, if they don't want it filmed, that drone,
it's not gonna go. Interesting. You brought up Jimmy Church. Now Jimmy is the coast. He's been on Coast to Coast. He has that show Fade to Black that you were on last night. And Jimmy's a very interesting person. But his visit here changed that man profoundly.
Yeah.
He had a lot of personal experiences and a lot of group experiences. You want to touch on that for a minute?
Well, he went out. I walked out there with him to the medicine wheel. We have this big galactic medicine wheel out there, and it was funny. He talked about it last night, and he had a profound experience. I was just sitting there talking to him, and I said, "Go walk into the Orion Council of Light Center, that section," and he did. And next thing you know, he just had a profound download. And he was trying to dismiss it. He was kind of kidding around, but he couldn't. It was profound. He went back again with the girls playing the crystal bowls out there, and he had another profound experience.
Lit him right up again, yeah.
And they got photographs of dimensional changes.
Sure.
Where things were splitting in half and really crazy stuff going on.
I saw that.
Yeah, he got a beautiful photograph of a ship over the mountain. He was very involved in the door opening, and the other researchers here saw the door open, and we have a telescope out here too. We've been looking at that mountain for a long time. That door wasn't there.
Right.
It wasn't there. I mean, for 30 years I've been looking at that mountain. So it's very obvious. I mean, I can see it right now from here, but just with the naked eye. But it's not a little door.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Well, I've been here a little over 2 months now, and it wasn't there when I got here. And it's like when you're here, what's important to understand is as soon as you walk into the Field of Dreams or out front of James Yurt here, there's the mountain. You can't help but look at it. And she just draws your interest. The power coming off that mountain is absolutely amazing. So you tend to look at the mountain often, most every day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden one day we're all standing there with binoculars saying, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because and you can see that, I mean, hundreds of tons worth of debris fell out, and traveled down the face of that glacier.
Yeah.
That was, there's been some massive activity up there.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because it's not, to me, it's like everybody's trying to prove, is it a door? Is it not a door, or whatever? It would be cool if it's a door. It's irrelevant because there's other doors on there in caves, and we have ships coming out of them on film.
Right.
And they open up their own doors. It could be a door, but if you go up there, you may not see anything because it's cloaked, or they have like the door in the center, the big door they open up, it's a gravitational field or whatever, G-force, and they open it up and all the material just kind of swirls out, and they come out and they fly out, and then it closes and comes back.
Right.
And all you'll see is a giant lava face there. You won't see anything else. And, that's part of their technology. There's nothing there unless you're there when they open the door. And then you'll see something, but otherwise you won't see anything.
And they want you to see it, yeah.
Yeah.
What was interesting, too, is like I've done enough events with you now that to get a real feel of what it's like when you get a large or really focused group. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a large one, but like Self-Mastery was a good example of that when, the focus of that particular group was intense.
Yeah.
And we went through your Self-Mastery seminar and all the different, aspects of that, which I love, by the way. And then when we went out and did the Gong, that was just, it was so powerful. It was hilarious too, because the energy, it was just this wonderful joy. It was really, really powerful.
Yeah.
But the aspects of that, are multifaceted. And because when you carry that frequency and that many people are holding that frequency, it calls in contact.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we had sky watches that were off the hook.
Yeah, there were so many ships coming in. And
you got 7 ships in one frame.
Yeah,
because you had the night vision going. Now, what I saw, I was sitting just over here, and it was really active. Ships were all over the place. But then I saw 3 ships converging from 3 different angles. They came together, formed this perfect triangle, and then as they expanded, the triangle got larger and larger, and that we're all just like, whoa! Everybody was yelling and cheering. It was a blast. And then the next day, you were telling me, well, I think there were 4 in there, and then you looked at it again. It's like, no, there were 7 ships in that one frame, and it was just, it was amazing, you know. And the big power ups when they came over. So I mean, they light the place up more ways than one.
There was so much going on, and I think it's important. You know, Ashley did a really good presentation about, you know, unseen negative influences and keeping your space clear, and, you know, owning your stuff and things like that. And that's so important right now on the planet. And then Joseph talked a lot about, you know, his thing about cleansing the body and keeping the body clean. And he has, you know, his techniques to do that, you know, the cleansing techniques and super shots and all that other stuff. So I don't know if I'm missing anybody. Am I missing anybody? I'm trying to think
I'm trying, you know, because we had the 2 guided meditations. We had, well, there were also the workshops. So Costa and Hollis did their own workshop.
Oh yeah, my brother gave it.
Oh, Jay did an awesome one on the breathing.
Yeah, he gave a great talk, and I wish we recorded that. Unfortunately, it didn't get recorded, but he did a great talk about the breath work and higher consciousness and going into those altered states and how people have spontaneous healings and things like that. So you know, there's and that's actually the first time he's actually gone on stage and
really
and talked. Yeah.
Oh, he did great. And then, well, then he had I think it was a 7 or 8 hour workshop that day.
Yeah.
You know, that was intensive, you know.
Yeah.
Now I didn't attend that. I was very busy, and but you know, I had my own workshop to do that day. But and that I have to say also is that was my first time speaking publicly.
Yeah.
And I just felt so at home, and I felt so accepted. It was just a wonderful honor to go through the synchronistic occurrences that brought me to speak at that podium. And then I did my workshop, and we had a 100% success rate of getting of people speaking their light language for the very first time. 100%. We usually average the high 90s, but this one, you know, was right on the mark. And
even the kids out there were doing it.
Right.
Some of the kids were speaking light language.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
You know, and for those who are unfamiliar with light language, what is it? It's a multi-dimensional expression of energy, bypassing ego and intellect. If you want to look at more of that, you can look up my YouTube channel, which is We Speak, Unity Community, or the Unity Light Activation Group on Facebook. But I want to say that the main theme that I walked away from the conference was bring the new information in. Let's get out of the old stale habits of, oh, Roswell. Roswell was almost 70 years ago now, you know, and you know, yeah. And then the other thing was the whole aspect of how important the spiritual aspects are to this vast subject that we're discussing and your life's work.
And mainly internal versus external. That's what I see, is that, you know, we at the core of our being is this powerful, loving, joyous, manifesting God or goddess, and you know, it's the one consciousness that encompasses all consciousness on all planes and dimensions throughout the multiverse. You know, the source itself, and all the masters said that the temple is within. Go within, be still, know ye are God. You know, I can go on and on with all the quotes, but I mean, that's what they did. They merged with that one consciousness. And if you want to make contact, that's how you do it. You go within and you open up and you expand in awareness, and all of a sudden they contact you and you go, oh, and your family and friends from star nations and other lives and all that stuff start coming to you. And then also learning self-authority, how to heal in the unseen negative influences and maintain your sacred space. You know, teaching those are really important. But it's what I'm seeing right now. I think the main thing focus on this was all about tools of empowerment and self-authority, and, you know, how do you have your own personal contact and really becoming sovereign in your energies. You know, stop being like a battery where you're leaking and you're connecting to all these other things and you're getting information that's skewed and twisted. And, you know, it's time for us to really go within and develop our own BS meter, you know. And I call it inner sensitivity, you know, and you can sense the intent of somebody, because what you're seeing is, it's like the wizard, you know, in Wizard of Oz. You know, you're seeing all the smoke and mirrors and hearing all the flowery words and everything else, and you look behind the mirror, you know, the guys back there counting the change, you know,
yeah.
things like that. So it's like you got to go beyond that, and it's important not to be distracted from making your own personal connection with, you know, Creator, Source, God, whatever name you want to give it.
You know, and I think that's something that's really important for everybody to know, is we all get distracted.
Yeah.
And that's part of the self-mastery of bringing that into your awareness, and then taking that and processing it to where you can, you know, turn it into something that's very usable.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you could, you know, your experiences. I like to just share my experiences with others. They'll ask me, John, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I say, well, I don't know how you do it, but this is my experience, and maybe you can discern something from my experience that will help you. But we're all different in that aspect.
Yeah, we're all unique, and we need to be authentic and find out what our own unique purpose is down here. And so I always tell people, you're following others, you're lost, because you need to tune into your own unique experience. But here we have a lot of like-minded people sharing and working together and bringing their own unique assets to the party, and it's amazing. And you know, we've been playing the separation game for so long that we think people have to behave this way, but everybody has a part, and everybody's going to behave, you know, differently, and hopefully everybody plays their part well, and we'll get through this. But you know what, I love this saying. There's a saying that, you know, in whatever name you want, Creator sent its best for this time to help us get through these times. And the best that the Creator sent is us. And we need to wake up and realize that we came from some very advanced civilizations, very spiritually and technologically advanced civilizations, incarnated here to help shift this planet. And you know, we're not here to become consumed by it. We're here to change it. And I love that one saying that they said, it's not the measure of a man or a woman to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So don't care about acceptance and approval outside yourself, especially by the masses, because, you know, it is a profoundly sick society right now. And if you don't think so, you know, you just have to look around. Look at what we're doing to the environment, to each other. Look at the wars, look at the pollution, look at the food, I can go on and on. But it is, we need to address that and deal with it head on. We can't play the denial game anymore, because it's not in our highest and best good.
And it starts right there. It starts with the individual, and it starts with, you know, like you said, you know, you're not going to find the answers looking outward.
Yeah.
There's no external source of what you're looking for. You're looking in the wrong direction if you're looking outward.
Yeah.
You know, and I did it for years. I think a lot of us do. And I was resigned to I was actually isolated quite a bit during that period of time, but it pointed me inward. And it was the greatest gift I could have allowed myself to have. And then my awareness started to expand. And I know that anybody who will really, you know, go authentically and you know, truthfully into themselves, they will expand just by the virtue of that thought alone.
Yeah, we need to be brutally honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and look at what we're doing and what we're saying and how we're behaving, and just see how that fits into universal law, or how that fits into the higher frequencies. And also too, we need to acknowledge, you know, that there are certain entities down here that are self-serving, that don't have our highest and best good, and we need to deal with that. We can't just deny it and shove it under the rug, you know, because you know, out of love for humanity and the earth, you're going to address this stuff. It's not because you're lower than. I've seen, you know, why are 13th dimensional beings coming here to help us? Because there's a problem.
Right.
There's some very nasty beings doing their thing down here. And so we need some very powerful light beings to counteract that, and that's why they're here. So we need to acknowledge that and play our part in it, and also give thanks for their assistance, and initiate more contact, more help, you know, to get through these times.
You know, there's been a shift of energy up here at the ranch. Well, it's planetary as well, but the shift of energy, because you know, being at the vortex here, it's definitely, and I use this phrase a lot in my presentation and workshop, is amplification and acceleration. So those things really, you know, make a big big impact. And what gets done here, or the energy that's focused here at a vortex or other vortexes, does go into the collective much faster than if you were away from it. So the shift of energy that I've been feeling is the awareness of self, and I'm seeing it in all our crew. I'm seeing it, and this is something different that I haven't seen as much of it. And I think that, you know, it seems like that kind of is it's the mantra of the ranch, is to really, you know, is to step that up.
Yeah, hold a frequency and take personal responsibility when you're not, you know. That's basically the game here, you know. Maintain a consciousness and energy here. That the Pleiadians told me that over and over again. They said, I asked them, you know, about the ranch, what's our most important mission here, and she said to hold a frequency, and that frequency is like an acupuncture point for the entire planet. So when we do all this work, it's actually infusing the entire grid, the entire planet, and, you know, helping with the shift. And we can all play our individual part in that. There's nobody more important or less important than another. We can all, you know, play an important part in the days to come.
I just want to say, you know, publicly, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak at my very first international conference. Yeah, I was a little nervous at first, but yeah, it was really great. But I had to say, Barry Littleton wins the most nervous speaker award. You know, but we love Barry.
Yeah, we kept torturing him until he got out of it.
Yes, we did. We were relentless with him.
I wanted to tell you some of the things I said to him just to get him to laugh. But
oh, and you did. And then Barry's laugh is so contagious. I was 200 yards away, and I could hear him laughing.
We were really having fun with him. But anyway, you know, I'm always accused of not being a businessman or not talking about we really need to talk about the DVDs that they're available. If people want to see the presentations of these awesome speakers, you know, they can go to ESETIevents.com and check it out and see which one resonates with you. But again, Ken Rolla's, that is so necessary right now to get that out, because not only is he just nailing all of it about what's happening on the planet, he's giving solutions to the chemtrails, solutions to the aspartame and all the additives in the food, solutions to, you know, all the toxic stuff going on, you know, Fukushima and things like that. And that's what I love about it is that, you know, he not only nails and says, this is what's going on, and this is who's behind it, this is who's hiding it, but this is how you
fix it. Yeah,
that's how you fix it. And I think that's really important right now. And also too, if you want to find out about all the different dimensions, you know, and who's who on the dimensions, who's on the, let's say, the service side, and who's on the self-service side.
Well, that would be your presentation.
Yeah, I covered quite a bit of that,
because you come from the bottom up.
Yeah,
and
that's what I do.
What's really interesting about your presentation is it's very easy to understand.
Yeah.
You clarify in very concise terms. And these are things, that was one of the things that resonated with me when I first saw one of your videos. Was I knew a lot of these things, but I couldn't put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
And it really helped me sort out, okay, that makes sense. This is why I feel this way about such. And I mean, I love it when you pull out the light spectrum slide and you start to talk, and it's and I see somebody seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen you do it several times now. But you just see the aha. You see the light bulbs lighting up across the audience, because they're starting to, well, okay, this makes sense. This, you know, why didn't we learn this in the history books?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Why isn't, you know? But that was, you know, so back to the DVDs again. So the individual presentations, including mine, there and James are all there on ESETI events. And, you know, just look them up. You can buy them online. It's a wonderful thing. And I highly suggest just going down and see who resonates with you. And
Lisa, we didn't cover her.
Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry, Lisa. Lisa Diane, who does the Mud Bag Earth Dome building. And
she gave a great presentation about Mother Earth and that side of things. And actually, we're still building this mud dome. So if anybody wants to come up, it's a feminine project. They're creating a mud dome, and it's going to be a little mini hall for the divine feminine, you know, a place where women can go and it'll be multi-purpose place, but it's mainly for the women to get in touch with the divine feminine.
Let's talk about how you found the center of that for just a second. How you, like, James does a lot of divination. He uses the divination table. He uses divining rods,
yeah.
and he's quite good at it. But they were looking for the land to tell you where they should place, where they should build the dome. Right?
Yeah. It was interesting too, because they showed me it needed to be next to the medicine wheel, and they showed me it had to be close, and then I kind of had an idea of where it was supposed to be, close to where it was supposed to be. And so I get the divining rods, I walk out there, and I found the center, and I marked it. And the center it's funny, it's right within all these lava shelves and everything else. And when we marked this out, it's weird because we had to go down at least 2 feet, with the backhoe to get the bottom set up. So when we did this, it was interesting that the same thing happened at the conference, but in other places, is it ended up in the exact center of these lava shelves and everything else. We got our foundation, we got everything. And so when you work with the land and work with the nature spirits and ask them where to put things, what to do, you get events like that, where it just works out perfectly.
And yeah, I mean, you're not trying to dig down through stone.
Exactly.
Because they told you exactly where it where it would be, and energetically, because there's a convergence of ley lines here.
Yeah.
And I mean, and if anybody's ever been up here, you can feel the energy. If you're open and you allow yourself to really sense things, it's crazy how powerful it can be.
Yeah, definitely. And people go to the website esetievents.com, and you can find out more about the dome building. It's just begun, and so if people want to come and jump into that project and help out, we're having some seminars on that and other events. We have some other self-mastery and other events coming up, so just check it out on the website. And I always tell people the reason I built this place is for people to have their own experience. And same thing with the UFOs. We don't have to look back, in 1940 or 50 or whatever else.
You need to look up.
Yeah, you just come here and look up, and they're here. And it's not about talking about something that happened in the past here. There's a long history of UFO activity here, and masters appearing and things like that. It's all about coming here and looking within, and
right.
then you'll have your experience. But even looking without, you're going to see them. You can't miss them.
You can't, And I just want to drop a little teaser on a project that we're very much early into, but we're looking to put some of these other presenters and stream them on our Skywatch weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it's going to work out really well, but it will allow us to access all these incredible people without, that we don't have to bring here physically or are unable to come here.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of new things. That project's going to be a lot of fun, and there's so many people that want to get involved in it. So we'll be posting any information on that as well. A lot of work has been done on the websites, and they're very much, the structures are now much more updated, and the data is going to be really, I mean, Ashley's been working, she's been so busy that she was buried and couldn't really do the work on the website. But now it's really going to start, it's coming together. It's going to be a lot easier to navigate on those sites as well. So a lot of people will be much happier there as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of really nice improvements that we're all working hard to do. We have a lot of new ideas and energies that were new projects. And I just want everybody to know that this is something that is, James has had all these great ideas in the past, and now the energies are finally in a line to do them.
Yeah, and the people here to do them too. And I'm so grateful, especially for you and Jeff for what you did in the conference building. It's so amazing. They installed all these lights and cleaned it up and everything. Now it looks like a major studio now. It's incredible. And I was blown away when I walked in and I saw the lighting and everything. It was just incredible. And all the work on the gardens and Mark and Karen and all the garden work back here.
Eva and Cecilia
and everybody, that's been helping out. Jim. And Jim's been taking care of the gardens also, and the goats. And we got
Alex and
baby goats, and Alex has been a godsend, too as well. So hope I didn't forget anybody. I'm sure I did, but I always do. But Lori and is helping.
Well, of course. Well, Lori's a mainstay at the ranch here for sure.
Yeah, and Joseph cooking all those nice meals here.
Yeah,
frees us up to do our other work.
It does, and it's really important. It allows us to do what we want to do and focus in the right direction.
Yeah, so the only thing I can express is just gratitude for everybody and all the help that's come here. it's been a long journey, you know, for 30 years. I had to do a lot of it myself.
Yeah, right. And it's probably quite a bit of a I don't know. I just see this change to where you can kind of take a step back and take a big breath now.
Yeah, I need to.
You know, because
I mean, I'll still be digging the ditches and gardening and things like that.
You always
I enjoy
will.
that work. You know,
you'll be 80 years old out there in the flip flops with a shovel.
Exactly.
You know, I just want to close this little thing with this one beautiful statement that I heard James say, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it went something like this: a young student approaches the master and says, "Master, what tool should I use to find myself, to find the ultimate truth within myself?" And the master hands him a shovel.
Yeah, Babaji said that. It was pretty funny, and I realized that because what happens is when you're doing mundane work and it gives your mind something to do, and it's all about stilling the mind so your spirit can come in and work with you and heal and awaken you. And so when you're in a place like this and you're doing that kind of work, people get healings, people get downloads, they get information. It's just amazing. So I understand the dynamics of that now. But I thought that was funny, his answer. He said, you know, we're here. He said, just put a shovel in their hands. You know, so.
On that note, guys, from the East Eddy Ranch with Mr. James Gilliland, someone I've grown to have a great friendship with and appreciate deeply. Thank you so much, and we'll be posting more videos just like this, keeping you guys up to date on what the new projects, new events, and all the really cool stuff that seems to constantly be happening.